you know, one of the more interesting, regardless of whatever you think about them, one of the more interesting series of movies and concepts of movies for a franchise, whatever, that's come out in a long time has been Sylvester Stallone's The Expendables. I mean, the notion of Sylvester Stallone himself, who, by the way, is 75 years old.
Oh my God.
Sylvester Stallone himself gathering together a bunch of like 80s and 90s action stars and creating this franchise of just bombastic, ridiculous action and things like that. It's a very cool concept. They have met with varying degrees of success. Some pretty good, some not so good. But there's been a lot of discussion and talk lately about whether or not we could actually see Sylvester Stallone do another one. He's been talking about it in the last couple of years, actually ever since 2018. Sylvester Stallone's been talking about the possibility of doing another Expendables. Well, today he's back at it again because Sylvester Stallone got on social media and once again teased that he's working on Expendables 4. And he basically put up this on Instagram. He wrote, "I just finished designing this new ring for Expendables 4. It's a little heavy, but it'll definitely put some muscle on your fingertips." And I got to say, that is indeed a pretty badass ring that he's got there. That looks pretty awesome. I do like it. Of course, it's got the Expendable skull and all that kind of thing. Now, going back to an interview with former UFC light heavyweight and heavyweight champion Randy Couture, he spoke about the possibility of an Expendables 4 earlier when he said, "It sounds like we're going to get to do Expendables 4. They've been kicking it around for a couple of years, but now I've just recently heard from my agent that they are working on a script for Expendables 4, and they're planning to schedule filming for Expendables 4 for this next fall, somewhere around there. So I haven't seen the script yet. They had one couple of years ago, but they were talking about making Expendables 4 out of, and then that script just got away." So that comes to us from Randy Couture. And by the way, our friends Epic Dub Time and Marie Seafring sent in super chat badges in the live chat. Thank you guys very much. So here we got Stallone. By the way, I just want to bring this up on screen. We were just talking about Stallone is 75 years old, right? This is 75-year-old Sylvester Stallone. Come on. I want to effing smack him in his stupid, muscular face. Look at the guns on this guy at 75 years old. Anyway, I'm sure there were absolutely no horse steroids involved. I'm sure there were no horse steroids involved whatsoever. But I don't care. Look at the size of this dude. I would go see an action film with this guy. I would still totally be up for an action film. Now, look, of course, the biggest question here, guys, isn't about whether Stallone can pull off an Expendables movie. The question is, with the, like I said, varying levels of success, and the fact that it has been a few years since the last Expendables, is there a hunger? I mean, honestly, is there a hunger right now in the fan base for another Expendables movie? And I'm not saying there's not, but Rob, I'm just saying, I'm not sure there is. Rob, you see Stallone coming out here now, posting pictures of rings and all this kind of stuff. What do you think? Number one, do you think they are actually going to do Expendables 4? And number two, do you think there will be an audience waiting for it if and when it does come out?
Well, I don't want to be ageist, you know, so good on Sly for not you know, age is just a number for him. He keeps going. I admire that. Maybe he can team up with Indiana Jones. But you know, but I do. I think though that that's a real interesting trend. That, you know, this thought that Ridley Scott has 2 movies coming out and he's 83, and he has 2 movies he directed this year. But is there an audience? You know, the Expendables movies, I think, have never been as good as they should have been. The promise of them was a little bit better than the execution. Although I do say that they're fun to watch. You know, there's worse ways to fritter away a Sunday afternoon than watching an Expendables movie. So the fun thing about those movies is who else they get to be in them.
Yes.
So, you know, if he comes up with some insane all-star cast, especially I think in the wake of the Suicide Squad, who knows who he could get to sign up for the film. So if he's going to really make an Expendables movie, I'll watch it.
By the way, I just Matthew points out in the live chat that, remember, guys, Harrison Ford was in the last one, so maybe he was secretly Indiana Jones. I don't look. Kimberly, I don't know. Like, I'm looking at a picture of them. I mean, look at this. I mean, in this one picture I'm looking at, you got Stallone, Schwarzenegger, Bruce Willis, Chuck Norris, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Terry Crews. You've got Jet Li, Dolph Lundgren. It's amazing. And that is, Rob, you raised a great point. Whenever there's a new one coming out, it's always like, who are they going to put in there next? That's always been the cool thing. But I don't know, Kimberly, same questions for you that we had for Rob. First of all, do you think they're actually going to make Expendables 4? And then number two, will there be, I mean, obviously there's not going to be $1 billion audience, but will there be an audience for Expendables 4 if and when they do put it out?
Well, number one, since global warming is still an issue, I think we can all agree that we need Chuck Norris to come in and fix it. So there's always room for more Chuck Norris. But there's also a lot of great new blood. I think they should make this film. I think wherever they can find areas where they maybe fell short. I don't want to say fell short because it really is about how self-aware they are about the grand ridiculousness of it. I mean, 1 and 3 are definitely my favorites, but I would love to see Joe Taslim in there and GSP.
Oh my gosh.
To just add the muscle, add some more amazing martial arts. I'd like to see that. I know this guy doesn't fight, but in terms of manliness, because let's face it, this movie celebrates manliness. I'd like to see Dennis Haysbert. For some reason, his voice is just like so manly to me.
You're in good hands.
You're in good hands.
Dennis Haysbert.
And so I think not only is there room for it, but we love the nostalgia. These are our heroes of old, no pun intended. But I think there's something really fabulous as culture is celebrating diversity and inclusivity of people that are older kind of showing up and going, don't call it a comeback. So
I'll tell you what, I think they are going to do it. I mean, look, as long as Stallone puts his name behind it, but if they can keep the budget small, I believe they won't be hurting to find financiers. I think if you could have a very modestly budgeted Expendables 4, I think they will have financiers lining up to jump on board, because just the name the recognizableness of the name is going to be enough that they're probably going to believe they can make a decent little profit if they keep the budget reasonable. But that's going to be the key. Is can they make this for a reasonable amount of money? Because Expendables 4 is not going to make $400 million at the box office. It's just not. But it could make $200 million. It could make $250 million. If you budget accordingly, that could be profitable. So it's going to be interesting to see.
John?
Yes, Rob.
The last Expendables movie, Expendables 3, made $214,657,577 at the international worldwide box office.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. I don't think the idea or the concept of this thing being a $400 million movie is realistic. But you come out with the right cast and you market it right, this could be a $250 million movie. It could. So you budget it right. What are you thinking?
I do think what I really do like about the Expendables films, growing up in the 80s, watching all of the canon movies, like Kimberly brought up Chuck Norris, watching things like the Delta Force or Invasion USA, I was always there for those movies, and the studios aren't making them. So when the Olympus has fallen or London has fallen, or the Expendables come out, I watch these movies because they're fun and we don't get them anymore. So I do think that there's a place in the world for these films.
Well, we'll have to see what happens with it. The question is for you guys. What do you think about this? Do you think they're actually going to make an Expendables 4? Do you think there's going to be an audience for it? More importantly, are you interested? Like if they cranked out an Expendables 4 tomorrow, are you going to sit down and watch it? I'm not going to lie. I probably would. What do you guys think? Jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.